Well, good evening. Welcome to the airport board meeting. I'm Hugh McFarland, I'm the chairman. We're joined today for our airport board meeting. On the right, to my right is Mr. Julius Buckley, Mayor Pro Tem. Next to him is Ms. Dickey, airport board member. And Eddie Lowry, right there, thank you. And to my right is City Secretary Juanita Lemon. And to my left is Eric Galindo, airport director. Greg Model to his left, Albert Cabrera, board member, and Jacob Litwin, board member. And thanks for being here, for those that are here in the gallery, and also for those that are watching online. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. If we can start with invocation and pledge, please stand.
Let's all bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we love you today. We give you praise and glory and honor for everything. Father, we ask for your attention today to this board, to each member. Father, we need your direction. We need your wisdom, your knowledge, and understanding in all these matters. Father, we ask these things in your name, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please place the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please face the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. All right, the next item is the public comments, and I'll read our public comment clause. It says, any person with city-related business may speak to the airport board. In compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the airport board may not discuss or vote on any matter raised in public comments unless it is specifically on the agenda. And to speak during the board meeting, you must be recognized by the presiding officer. And Mr. Larry Elliott, would you like to give us an update? Thank you.
3 minutes, right? Good evening. I'm Larry Elliott. I am the president of the the EAA Chapter 1698 at the Cleveland Airport. And on Saturday, we had a Young Eagle event that I think the board should be aware of if you are not. The Young Eagles is a program where the EAA chapters promote aviation. And we had about 15 pilots, most of which came from the Cleveland Airport. We had 2 or 3 from Conroe and another gentleman from the a chapter on the south side of Houston. And we flew 68 Young Eagles, plus another 15 or so family and friends of the pilots. It's all done at free for the kids in an effort to promote the airport and promote aviation. I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware of that, and I think it was highly successful. We have a number of people here that participated, and it's something that we're going to do on a regular, recurring basis. And I brought it up because of the emphasis on promoting the airport that I heard about in previous meetings. And I think if there was ever a promotion for the airport, this is it. So, as I said, we'll probably have more in the future. Thank you.
Had the opportunity to go out for a little bit on that day, and it was really nice to see how well organized it was. And I guess some of the weather kind of kept some people out, but overall, that's a terrific show. You know, these 60 some Young Eagles, so that's terrific. That's a contribution to the community and to the airport, and we thank you all that participated in that.
Hugh, if I could also make a comment, and thank you, Larry, for that. I want to acknowledge Eric Galindo, the airport manager, was there. A large kudos to the success of that event can be attributed to his presence and his support, and I wanted to make sure that was noted also in our minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Yeah, that's vitally important. You know, that we all work together to have a successful airport. Reports and comments from board members. Let's start. Jacob, did you have anything to add? No? Okay, thank you. Mr. Albert?
No, right now, Mr. Hughes.
All right. Greg, did you have anything else?
Not at this time.
Okay. And you're going to have your next?
Yeah, I have the manager's report.
Okay,
afterwards.
okay. I'll mention something to anybody that's interested in being a board member. We may have some vacancies in the near or in the future. And that process is done through the city. You apply, there's on the website, you can go and apply, and then the mayor and the council, city council reviews those and makes those selections. But if anyone's interested, please submit your paperwork for that, and that way they'll have it when an opening does arise. And Mr. Julius Buckley?
Just a quick update on city events. If y'all don't have anything to do this weekend, the city's gonna have their first ever Log Jam Fest in the middle of downtown with the, first gonna be the cycling event, and then they'll have a big one from 11 to 7 in downtown, and then we'll have our Christmas parade on December 6th, and then a market in the fall, or the Christmas market at the Civic Center from, what was it, 12 to 5 p.m. on December 6th. So if y'all got any time, y'all want to come check that out, that's available in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dickey Harbour?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Eddie Lowry?
No, sir, I have nothing.
All right, okay. Then moving right along to manager report, Mr. Eric?
Kind of just would echo what Larry said, that that Young Eagles event was a great event, not only for, the EAA chapter and the kids of Cleveland, but also the airport. It really, you could really see the unity and with the tenants there, and, with everybody in the community just got together to make this event. It was awesome to see. I encourage, the next time that we have this, we could, for myself, could, with your permission, with the EA chapter, to promote this thing a little bit more. And I know that we had, a limited amount of seats, but I think we could, with a partnership, we could definitely make this thing bigger and better each year. Since I've been here so far, this is my second airport board meeting. So what we've done is completed a TxDOT Aviation Economic Impact Study survey, and thanks for all the pilots and passengers that participated in that survey. Gives TxDOT Aviation a lot of data that we could to move forward to see what kind of funding in the future that we could receive. I'll talk about this later as well, but we established an airport maintenance system. I've already had a couple people that already come and use that, and so we are diligently trying to get all those maintenance requirements fixed and make sure the airport's safe for everybody to enjoy. And then in preparation for the Young Eagles event, I attended all the EAA meetings there, and what made that whole thing seamless was all the preparation that went into that, all those meetings, and that really showed at the end result. So I enjoyed seeing all those, going to those meetings, and then also learning a lot of things, just like the Mosaic program that just got launched this past month. And so for people that don't know, is you could receive your sport pilot license in half the time it takes getting a private pilot license. There's limitations to it, but I highly encourage people to look at that, and if they want to see, if they have an interest of flying, now it could be obtained a little bit easier. So going to those meetings definitely keeps me abreast of what's going on in the aviation world. Also, you can see that physically the airport is, it's looking good, right? We've been maintaining the grounds around there, and now we can see, the signage that's there and the lights. So, shout out to our public works people for doing the hard work there to make sure we're clearing that out.
What was that, the lights on what do they clear out?
Oh, just to clear out the fields that, that was all the grass that's there, the high grass and vegetation there, keeping it low, and so keeping it low like that just helps with environmental concerns with, animals and any impacts on the runway, and also, everybody could see the sign just a lot clearer. And then just lastly, I've been talking with a lot of airports and airport managers, people from TxDOT Aviation and the FAA, and just trying to figure out all the funding requirements that's, needed to make our airport better. And so on the 19th, I'll be going to San Marcos for Texas Airport Council 101, Airport 101 on grant funding and CPIs, which will be a one-day event. And hopefully from there I could learn a lot to bring back to the airport so we could grow this thing a little bit more. But that's all I have.
Thank you, Eric. All right, item 6, approve the minutes from the September 4th Airport Board meeting.
Okay, and I make a motion that we approve the minutes from September 4th, 2025 Special Airport Board meeting.
Second.
All right. Show that approved, thank you. All in favor? All right, thank you. All right, since the last meeting, a lot has taken place as far as you recall, on the September meeting, the board made some recommendations to the city council, and we voted on 2 items. One was to increase the rent, if the city felt necessary to raise rates at the airport, we voted to approve that and recommended that they use a percentage basis to raise rates and to limit it to 5%. It was passed 4-2. We also voted to include a clause in the next airport contract, tenant agreement, to have some language in there to limit future rate increases tied to the CPI and not to exceed 5%. Those 2 items were voted on and passed. However, the city did raise rates, not by a percentage basis. They put a flat dollar amount on all the hangar tenants. Also, the new contracts that were disseminated to be signed by tenants did not include the new clause that the board voted on. So I requested and was granted a meeting with Eric, the airport manager, the city manager, and the mayor to discuss these items that I felt that were overlooked. So on the October 13th, I met with those 3, the mayor, the city manager, and Eric, to discuss, what is what was the rationale or the reasoning behind going against what the airport board had recommended. I made comments in regards to, statements from the city that any increase would be fair and reasonable. And I felt that by placing a dollar amount on the rates was not fair and reasonable, mainly because at Cleveland Airport, unlike other airports, we have a varied collection of hangars out there. Some are very, very old and manual doors, poor lighting, they leak. There's issues with those. Some of them are probably approximately 60 years old, and some are very new with electric doors, insulated ceilings. And the rates at the Cleveland Airport for hangars ranged before the increase from $225 up to $650 a month. There's 9 different rates charged at the airport. So based on that is a reason why the board was recommending that if you're going to increase rates, and we all voted that a rate increase was appropriate based on a percentage. And that was the reasoning behind that was the varied rates that we have at the airport. So with raising the rates by a flat dollar amount, that means the lower, less expensive hangars, the old hangars, bore about a 22% increase in their monthly rate, and the more expensive hangars bore a 7.8% rate increase. So it is my opinion that was not fair and reasonable. So I wanted to bring that to their attention. And I wanted to emphasize to, city leadership that the airport board, we're here to help and advise the city. In fact, it's in the bylaws. The purpose of the airport board is to advise the council of the problems relating to the city airport and to recommend to the council such plans and programs as will best promote the airport for the city. So that's, I wanted to really emphasize that we're not, we don't want to be an adversary. We want to help and advise the city, and in so doing, help the city not be exposed to unnecessary liabilities and such. And so I felt like I made that, got that communication across that, we're here to help. We're not here to be a problem, but we also want information to flow both directions. When we voted on those things, and then the city went and did how they instituted the increase in rates, there was no feedback to the board on the reasoning behind that, and I felt that served us board members a disservice. And so I was hoping that to communicate the fact that, communication needs to flow both ways, to and from the city. And I also wanted to emphasize the fact that this Airport Advisory Board it's a volunteer board. We volunteer our time, and only 3 of the board members are actual tenants at the airport. It's not as if we're all ganging up on the city to, vote to lower our rates or to our advantage. Only 3 of us are actually aircraft owners and pilots that rent hangars from the city. And so we had a good, healthy conversation, about an hour long, and I feel that if anything, the city knows that the board wants to be engaged, and we want what's best for the airport, and that's my desire, and I know that's on everyone on the board's desire, is to make Cleveland Airport the best that it can be, a Cleveland airport. We're not trying to be another airport. We want it to be the best Cleveland airport that we can be, and that's our desire. And so that's the reason why I met with the principals there, and I also would like to meet with City Council to discuss, how that City Council meeting took place, and to make sure that they understand the board's position on why we thought any increase needs to be by a percentage, and that's mainly because of the varied rates that we have at the airport. So that was the update. I wanted just to bring that to everyone's attention and explain that meeting. All right, moving on to number 8. Yes.
I was wondering if I could,
Absolutely.
probably couldn't see me behind Eric, I apologize. So I know I've had this conversation with Eric before privately, and I wanted to share this with the board as well. From my perspective, a hangar rate increase was not a surprise, okay? But what was a surprise to me was a very strong expression by 2 consecutive meetings where we had a full gallery, most of whom expressed questions about the flat rate versus the percentage increase. As Hugh mentioned, we did vote on recommendations to do percentage. A decision was made differently than that, and that is certainly the prerogative of City Council and the Mayor to do that. I 100% acknowledge that. What I am disappointed in, though, is that there was no feedback with that strength of expression of opinion by the tenants at large and by the board as to why the recommendation was decided against. And to this day, I don't know that reason. I respect the decision, I do, but as a board who, as Hugh alluded to, takes the time to formulate recommendations, to have that feedback on rationale is really critical, because not only do we meet as a gathering of individuals here as a board, but many of us interface with the greater airport community, and we hear regularly from them in the form of questions, comments that we're gathering as board members to express at these meetings. And so we are also a conduit of whatever information and feedback we get on decisions from the city level, that we can communicate that back to the airport community at large. And I feel like there's a great information vacuum right now, that we don't know the rationale behind the decision. Even though we do respect it, we acknowledge the authority of it, as I've already said. So I do have that request, that we would like to know, in the strong expression that exists about percentages, why the decision was made contrary. And I don't know that. I'd like to really know that. And the other part too is, the greatest value that can be afforded to the airport board is by extending that information in that feedback. And to have that void kind of makes me question, all right, what is our position here? And what is our function as a board? And the effort that we make to make recommendations with no feedback in return, it just gets very kind of frustrating. So I just wanted to offer those comments. The other part I want to add on to that, as in terms of feedback, the decision to raise the rate, while not surprising, it would have been very helpful if there was an explanation afforded to the board as to why the rate increase was needed. So when the revenue generated by the airport itself is required by law to be reinvested back into the airport, then there must be some need driving a rate increase. I don't know what that is. It would be very helpful to know personally as a board member, and it'd be very helpful to know when folks approach us at the airport, we can then explain what the rationale is, what the numbers are, whatever the reasoning is. And again, here's another vacuum and void of information that I don't have. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I don't know where it is. So that would be my request. I know I've made that to Eric. And we've told Eric he's the face of the city to us. And so he's kind of the lightning rod for us a lot of times. And that's what his role is. And he's done very well with that. But by the same token, as a board, like I said, it would be very, very helpful for our functioning properly and frankly to support the city in its decision-making if we have that information and the rationale behind those decisions. Thank you.
And taking that one step further, had the city come to the board and said, you voted and recommended a 5% increase. And they could have said, well, 5% based on this, and that, we need to raise this much more money a month for whatever reason that could be. And we could have said, well, say if it's another $4,000 a month net that they have to meet, it's an obligation that they could communicate to us. And he said, well, if you raise rates 15%, that would meet that, versus just a flat dollar amount is what they did. And so now we have people coming, to me and say, why do I have to pay 22% of the new burden when so-and-so over there is only paying 7%? And so that is what we are trying to communicate ahead of time to make things as fair as possible, and to emphasize what Greg is saying, and I think is very valuable going forward for the board and the city's relationship, is the communication aspect. And say, board, we need this amount of money for this. How do you recommend that we raise this money? And we could have had, some collaborative thought put into that, and maybe suggested, if you have to have that amount of money, let's do 7% first year, 8% the next year, and 2 years you have your increase. And there wouldn't be, I don't think anybody would have, been upset about that or questioned that. We all like being at Cleveland Airport as airport tenants, as aircraft owners and operators there. It's a wonderful airport. We're excited about the new leadership at the airport. So we want to move forward on a positive note, and hopefully this this occurrence that's just happened, we can learn from it and move forward, and I still appeal to the city council to, maybe we could make some adjustments and to make it more fair. All right, moving along on that, the airport layout plan, Mr. Eric.
So, yesterday I met with, Wolpert Consultants. They are, were contracted by TxDOT Aviation to do our, airport layout plan. And so, during that meeting, we discussed that, previous airport, layout plans, our airport was approved as a B2, type, airport. And so now that we have, now that we're B2, it'll limit us for funding for what we have. So their recommendation is to make us an A1 to reach that B2 requirement. And so that's how the meeting kind of went to, like, as far as vision, what we want to see, and as far as layout plan design, how we're going to structure this airport and how it's supposed to look like. I thought there was going to be, during that meeting, I thought it was going to be more in-depth and more, diagrams of what it's going to look like in the future. But it was mostly kind of just laying out, okay, what do we, what's our what do we want the airport to look like, what we want there, and things like this. And so for the next meeting that we have, and we're going to encourage, the airport board and the EDC to come to that next meeting, because that's when they'll be more defined with information that they'll have, now that we gave them all the feedback that required, as far as how many hangars we have, the heights of them, the years, how old they are, and just the layout that we have is, it could be done in a more optimum way. And so now that we have that information, and now that surveys have been done of the ground and the aerial, we're going to move forward with with that plan and what it's going to look like. So we're still in the early phases of getting that done. They're talking about the end of this month, we'll have probably another meeting, and so I'll be reaching out to everybody to see if they could attend that and get more input for that. So that was all during the airport layout plan meeting, and so it really gave me a confidence of what this thing is going to look like in 20 years, as far as their ideas. So we're really looking forward to what they can do.
Okay. Eric, did they mention anything as far as the ability to add hangars or a location on the airport that would best suited for that?
Yeah, we talked about a little bit about that, and where the hangars may be moving one's orientation to make more room for others. So those were briefly discussed. And yes, we talked about hangars, but as far as funding wise, whenever we talk to TxDOT and the FAA, hangars are kind of a lower priority. So center line from the active runway, that's the priority, and then it gets lower priority as it moves out, right? So as far as the hangars, yes, the plan is to make more hangars, and we got L that we're trying to get up and running. But yes, the whole plan is to add more hangars and more tenants and maybe some corporate stuff at the airport.
Okay, I was just curious if they had physical location that was better suited for that, as far as the north end or the south end, or I know there's quite a bit of a slope.
Yeah,
in the terrain.
we talked about some of the issues with building and some of the concerns that we might have to bring dirt, and they're going to do all those calculations because they know now they have all the survey information. They'll know exactly how much dirt that we need if we're going to plan there. What kind of hangar types that we're going to have there, the orientation, We also talked about 3-4 approach, because that, since now that we have that survey, we could, use that data to send to FAA, so we get that, that approach, done for, for the airport.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, they had different spots to put hangars when they were saying, they're just trying to get the idea of what the three of us had in mind to set it, because how that property line runs down
Right.
the other side, he's like, probably could just do box hangars kind of down it, but I just wanted the idea and make sure we were okay with them moving a couple of things to give a whole different kind of layout of it, but it was, I think they're gonna give a couple options, weren't they? Yeah, they're gonna have a couple options when they
Okay.
bring it back, so it won't just be one we get to pick from.
Okay,
The property
good.
line's not actually, it's not actually that much property on that side.
Right.
And you can't build anything on the west side because of the runway incursion, the 250 feet off the main line. And same thing on the east side. Like I said, that property line is a lot closer than what people think when you look at the survey and the property map.
I'm wondering if that area where the Q hangar is up to the road, towards the entrance gate, if that could be better utilized up there where the
Oh, by the
small-
entrance gate on the west side or east side?
on
Or
the east side.
That's all EDC property. So it's not airport property. But I don't know if the EDC is gonna plan on gifting that property, but all that area that's mowed up there, that's EDC property.
Okay.
It's not airport property.
Even to the, along the entrance road?
Just sorely, I mean,
Like an extension
Yeah,
of where the A hangar complex?
oh, from there up to the front, yes.
Yeah. Okay. That seems like a logical place for additional hangars, from what I've seen.
There was I remember, Dick, you may remember this when we were looking at the observation area.
Yes.
There's like a trapezoidal kind of extension out that's to be protected, like on a 3-4 operation, if there were to be a overrun or whatever, there's a protected space there. I know we ran into that on the observation area, so I don't know how that line exactly runs, but it's there.
Okay.
It may impact what you were
Yeah,
saying.
and that was discussed as well, that approach, coming in from 1-6 and then, also the 3-4. So we have to protect, that, and, there's other talks, there was supposed to be a road coming through that way, but, since we're grandfathered in, that, that's allowed. But usually that doesn't happen in the airport design plan for future building. But, so things like that were discussed, about maybe changing the FBO, and then it was like, hey, can we put something here? It was like, oh, there's a, oil line there, or
Right.
there's septic right there. So those are a lot of things that kind of, been thrown around, and they're gonna give us a couple options of like where we think, and once we get those options, we can still, if it doesn't suit, what we need or how it's designed, we can also definitely change those things.
Plus on the east side, south of the FBO, you've got two big gas lines, like he said, that you're not really gonna be able to build on. And the one's a 20-inch, natural gas line. So that one's really, highly
Right.
explosive. And then if you do have any, like the engineering questions like that, Frank Snell is our regional FAA, airport engineer. I think he's on that contact list, but he can direct any questions that you might have engineering-wise or requirement-wise, and how to submit those.
Yes,
sir.
And then going back just a little bit to Eric's comments, and if you explained it, Eric, I missed it, I apologize. I'm unfamiliar with the terminology B2 type airport. What does that mean?
So from what I understand, the B2 type, so it could accept jets, right? From what I understand, the aircraft type, right? So the aircraft type, so whenever that airport layout plan that was done previously, that got approved, excuse me, that was classified as a B2, and that's for the aircraft that's there. But we don't have, as nearly as much as jet traffic coming through there, right? So per our traffic and the type of aircraft that we have, they recommend an A1, which is single engine plane. So that's what those requirements are the size of aircraft that could be used at that, or that's mostly used at the airport.
I think the old AOP has it listed as a 29,000-pound max aircraft, which is actually pretty heavy. I mean, you're not gonna land a DC-9, or anything like that on that airport, but I'm sure you could, but that's good, though, that they set up.
All right,
Our flight traffic is an A1 style, is what they're saying. It was approved as a B2, which is, that's what we're trying to stay with, as a B2 for the future use, but it's just an aircraft style type.
okay,
And each one of them, an A1 versus a B2, they'll have different types of measurements from center line to taxiway.
Right.
And we have to make sure we are within that as a B2.
right. We want to preserve the ability to stay a B2 airport and not build into where we limit ourselves to it.
That's what she was like, our A1, but we'll set it for growth.
Right.
So if we do get to actually using that many big planes coming through, it's already set up.
Right,
Yeah, and it helps for funding, so
Right.
that's so if, we're saying, hey, if we're B2 already and we want to move it, they'll only, let's say it's a $2 million job, but since we're already, we're classified that, they're only going to give us like $1 million, right? So, but if we have, if it's a, A1 moving up to B2, they could fund the whole thing, so it's also for funding purposes.
absolutely. Okay, we want to preserve that, absolutely. All right, update on the maintenance items. I know, Eric, you had some comments on that.
Yeah, so I briefly spoke about it in my comments. So I just, encourage tenants to, if they have any type of issues with our hangars or see anything, that needs to be fixed or addressed at the airport, just please, use the email that we started. We had a couple of guys use that email, but it helps us track all these maintenance issues that we have, so make sure nothing falls through the cracks. So, so if you could, please, we have the tenants use that email. So it's airportmaintenance@cleveland.texas.gov. So, so if we just have, any type of maintenance issues that you're having, just please reach out to that email. But if it's something urgent, please bring it to my attention, and I'll get that, done right away.
Yeah, Eric can take that in the office as well. I've sent in an email request, and it's very simple and straightforward with that email address you just gave. Other maintenance items, we had spoke last meeting about AWAS, and I think you had said that you were looking into that, or what was any updates on that?
Yeah, so actually today we had JR, one of the reps that does AWAS, checks, I think it's quarterly that they come around. And so we are having some issues with the AWAS that we identified today, some blower motor and another device. We're going to get sending us the quote over, and those parts are able to be fixed, but for the whole system itself, it's so archaic that some of the parts you won't ever find ever again unless you find on eBay. So the plan and in the future is to update that to something more modern, something to like what maybe Liberty has. I was able to go down there and check out their AWAS, and it was definitely a lot more modern than ours. I think ours was early 2000s, and theirs was like a 2022 model, and it was enclosed all in itself, and that was a pretty slick system. So so the AWAS is definitely going to be something that needs to be updated. We're having some issues with our Gator, so if somebody's asking, to borrow it or use it. Right now it's down, but hopefully in the next week or two, we're waiting on parts to get it back up. And then just small things that we're, getting inspected on with SWIP-P, stormwater prevention, and our fuel tanks. Just make sure our some stuffs are painted, and some of our autofill, our alarms to overfill are working correctly. But other than that, we're still working through all the issues that we have, and they're small, but we're getting after them.
Okay, a week or two ago, we had an issue with the fuel pumps not working, and you had brought somebody out right away, and you said it was what switch was not properly
So,
activated?
so I don't know who did this, but it was the auto shut-off, switch was initiated. And so that kills power to everything.
Right.
And so, we brought out an electrician and we troubleshooted, got into the box and looked at everything, and then, come to find out that was, engaged. So every time we would try to hit the breaker, it would cut off because that switch was engaged. And that happened during the evening time, and I don't know why or who, or if, I don't know if it was somebody did it on accident. There's two switches there, and so if they might have hit it on accident, I have no idea. But that's what was the problem with that.
Yeah, and just to emphasize, that emergency cutoff switch is for emergencies. It's not a normal switch to turn off the fuel. When you're done, there's one switch that you turn off, and that'll print your receipt. And so it was good. Eric was there and got someone on it right away. But it turned out to be just that someone had inadvertently hit that switch. So yes, sir.
How's the labeling on the switch?
I think it's just fuel cutoff, right? Emergency cutoff.
No,
Or is
there's nothing on that switch.
Okay,
So
well, that's-
there's a one that says emergency cutoff, but, so when I open up that panel, there's no wiring that goes to that switch. So there's two switches there. One says emergency shut off, and the other one just looks just like it, but it's dingy. But, and I was telling the electrician, I was like, why can't we just take off that signage off of there and put it on this one? And so, that's what probably we have to do, is to move that switch, that signage on that one switch that's in op. It's just there. I have no idea what it's doing there. You hit it back and forth, it doesn't do anything. But the one below it is the one that's active.
Okay. Well, I recommend a maintenance item right there, if you could, because that's a good point, because those are the kind of little things that,
Yeah, email me.
yeah, I'll email it, all right. See how this minute through email, okay. Any other maintenance items, any other board members that are aware of anything anybody that you've seen? I've noticed the FOD in front of my hangar has been drastically improved, which is wonderful, and I appreciate that.
So twice a week, I go out there, and so I have a jar full of stuff that I found. So if anybody wants to come by the terminal building, you can see the actual stuff that I find on the taxiways and, all the ramps through there. So I've got a little collection of a lot of things. So if you're missing a little bit of some airplane parts, just come on by. I got a few.
I was in Oklahoma just a couple days ago, and I was walking across the ramp, and I found a nail that was bent at like 90 degrees, and I brought it inside the FBO, and one of the guys looked at this, wow, and he was very intent, because they were sweeping the ramp and everything. But yeah, if you find anything like that, please bring it to Eric's attention. But I've noticed a big improvement on that FOD. Yes, sir.
I had an interesting one. I sent Eric an email. I had rat dropping all over my hangar. I was curious if other people had.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. They ate one of the boots in my airplane. I started freaking out, and Johnny had to look at it, because those could get really expensive as soon as the rat goes in. It can easily, in the thousands of dollars, because they'll eat all the insulation and all the electrical. It's a nightmare. So it turned out to be okay, just the boot, but they ate the boot, and they ate my wet vac, the hard plastic, and the rat droppings were everywhere. And that's fairly new, because I haven't seen that in the last few years. So I put rat traps all over the place, but that is an issue. Thank you for bringing that up.
Probably the mowing kind of, scattered all those rodents, back out to us. So if you, so if you just shoot me a quick email at that, I'll start, making sure we get that taken care of.
Thank you.
All right, update on the RFP for the Hangar Q.
Okay, so RFP for Hangar Q, we're gonna put it out one more time, to see if we get any bites. And so we will let it go for, about 60 days. So we're gonna put it out, like we usually do, in newspapers and stuff like that. But if you know anybody that has any plans, that are a good proposal, please, ask them to present those to us. As soon as I get, the proposal paperwork, I'll make sure to push it out to everybody and then see if anybody has a good idea of, a good proposal, what they want to do with that Kwanzaa hut. That being said, if we don't get any proposals in for it, we are looking at getting engineered plans to see if it's still structurally sound. If it's structurally sound, probably do something like, to the effect of like a community hangar, something like that. But if it's not structurally sound, then we'll just go ahead and demo it and prep it for, the layout plan. But-
Do you have the dimensions of that, by chance? Do you know what that is?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's 95 by 75.
Thank you.
There
Now,
we go.
imagine the ALP, or the RFP, I got too many RFQ in my head, but RFP, I guess, before it was always a 100 by 100 building that everybody wanted to put there, but I imagine worst case scenario, man, you could go with just a 30 by 30 box hanger, like the ALP's recommending, putting on the east side over there. Even 1 or 2 box hangers might fit over there perfectly, instead of having just one big hanger, you got 2 small box hangers, and.
We have to be careful because it's right there on that center.
Yes.
Or B2.
Right.
Center line, taxiway, and the overhang. So it's very.
Yeah, it's like, you
Yeah.
got like 4 foot or something like that
Yeah.
from the center line.
Yeah,
of that-
we went
that
out there and
text.
measured it that day, and then the FAA engineer said it just couldn't be any taller than what the current height is now, but it could still fit that same footprint.
Yeah, and so, yeah, if we don't get anything, and we'll get any bites, and we'll just look at, either trying to, if it's viable to get it to, so if it passes the structural engineer, evaluation, we'll make the corrections to fix it and then use it, for a community hangar to get more, because we have 81 folks on the wait list, and I'm pretty sure, even if, they have to share it, I'm pretty sure they would like to have it somewhere other than outside on, underneath a ramp that's uncovered.
Okay, thank you. If there's no other items, I request motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
All right,